Dougie Sanderson, waking you up for the day. Oh, I do apologise, that was me with the air freshener there. Let's just say thank goodness you don't have smell-o-vision, or whatever the radio equivalent of that might be. It really does get quite whiffy in here at times. It's a rather cramped studio. No windows, needless to say. And I've noticed there's a very particular odour that seems to only come to prominence after a certain DJ, who should remain nameless, has recently vacated the booth. Suffice to say, he does the alternate late-night slot, playing all the very latest banging tunes, I'm told is the phrase. It's a very curious odour, a sort of mixture of egg sandwiches and Parmesan cheese. If you can imagine that combination. Why people like Parmesan cheese, I shall never comprehend. One of the most revolting foodstuffs I've ever had. But it certainly does characterise this particular odour I encountered in the studio after this certain DJ has been frequenting the booth. I suppose our DJ friend has got some kind of recalcitrant body odour issue. Some kind of armpit fungus, maybe. I don't know. Nobody dare tell him, of course. No one likes to hear that. You stink. But if it's true, is honesty the best policy? Right, let's have a wee bit of Dire Straits, and here's Why Worry. Well, I'm very sad to say that things have developed here somewhat since I last spoke as regard to certain remarks I made earlier concerning a DJ here at the station. Remarks which I have apologised for. That wasn't good enough, apparently. So now I have to make a voice-to-voice apology to the particular person that has taken offence. Joining us on the line is DJ Slicer.
You're banging out of order, man. Where'd you get off saying I stink? I got out of bed for this, geez. You better do it right. I had people texting us all morning saying you've been dissing us. You got something to say it in my face, yeah?
All right, well, let's just take it easy there, Slice. I don't want to get sliced up, as it were. Funny sort of name, that, if you'll forgive me for saying so. Slicer. Bit of a Hammer House of Horror type concoction. Maybe that's why no one's ever broached the subject of your bodily pungency. Too afraid, I suppose, to trigger some kind of attack.
So what are you doing, man? You're supposed to be apologising, not rubbing it in my face, yeah?
Right you are. As I say, I am very sorry that I've drawn attention to this obviously very sensitive issue. Clearly, I should have taken you aside, man to man, and dealt with it in that way.
Oh, wait a minute. That's no apology, man. You're still saying I've got BO.
Well, it has to be said. It's something of a coincidence, don't you think? That every time I go into the studio following one of your shows, there's this very distinctive odour, as I say, a sort of egg sandwich, Parmesan cheese type combo.
No, I ain't having this, man. I was told you were going to give us an apology, yeah? Making snidey little remarks about slicing you up. Slicing's the way I mix up tunes, you dope. What do you think I am? Supposed to think we're all into knife crime as well as stinking the place out?
Perhaps I should just inform our listeners at this particular juncture. For anyone not familiar with Mr. Slicer, I mean, much as he'd like to pretend otherwise, I can assure you he is not, nor could ever be thus described as black, or any other ethnicity other than white.
What you bringing that into it for, man?
Oh, come on, I think we all know what you were driving at there. I got the very distinct impression you were implying I was being racist in some kind of bizarre way, when all I was doing was characterising this revolting odour that you leave in this studio after doing one of your so-called shows, which, by the way, I have to say I have listened to, and it mainly seems to consist of a bunch of random noises exploding out of nowhere, records being intercut with gay abandon, all cobbled together with you foaming at the mouth like some kind of rabid dog with a flea up its crack. A slapdash enterprise if ever I've heard one.
At least I break a sweat on my shows more than you do. Banging out lame-ass music all morning, sat on your fat Scottish ass.
Whoa, hold on a minute there, pal. Scottishness has absolutely nothing to do with the size of my backside.
You started it, mate.
You're damn right I did. And I'll tell you something else, buddy. I hereby retract my apology, every last one of them. I stand by my original remarks. You, my friend, stink to high heaven. Everybody knows it. Just because you wee posse didn't tell you, it's left to the likes of me. It's totally inconsiderate to your colleagues here. We all have to work in the same environment. If you've got some kind of a body odour issue, you should really take care of that before you come into work. I've spent a small fortune on air fresheners. Every time I have to eat something in here, there's always that dreadful lingering stench catching the back of my throat.
That's what you could do with missing a few meals, mate.
Charmed, I'm sure. That's the way you want to go, is it? Tit for tat.
You're the one with kids, mate. Big fat outfits, along with your big fat area. Ginger meat. Telling me I stink. In the state of you, geese. I bet you're too fresh. Carrying that kind of timber about all day long, you bloody fat.
Sorry, I didn't quite catch all of that there. Phone lines seem to be a bit on the fritz. Having enough trouble with the garbled diction.
Whatever's going the way I talk now?
Talking, that's what you call it. Sounds more like you've got a hot chip in your gob.
Oh, fuck off, you fat ginger cunt.
Apologies for that outrageous language there. I'm very sorry you had to be subjected to that hideous outburst. DG Slicer, getting a little bit hot under the collar, shall we say. Totally unprofessional, of course. There we are. That's the new guys for you. But once again, though, many apologies for our potty mouth run there. It wasn't my idea to get the guy on the phone, I should just stress. But it was felt I'd overstepped the mark here with one of our most popular DJs. I have no idea why. No accounting for taste, I suppose. Quite difficult to apologise sincerely for merely stating the obvious, though. Anyway, once again, many apologies for that disgusting outburst.
DJ Slicer.
Let's just fade that racket down so you can hear my voice. Many apologies if you're expecting your nightly fix of DJ Slicer. As you may or may not know, he has been suspended from his show for a wee while after the 4-letter tirade he unleashed on my show. But it was felt by management that I'd somewhat provoked the situation, and as penance, I've been forcibly drafted in to fill his slot. I'm sure that will displease a lot of you out there, and I can tell you the prospect doesn't exactly thrill me. It was supposed to be my week off this week, but now I have to come in at this ungodly hour and try to entertain you. Pretty much single-handedly, as Mr. Slicer's usual crew refused to work with me. Quite relieved, I have to say. Some rather shifty-looking individuals amongst that lot. I don't think my safety could have been guaranteed, but probably I shouldn't stray into any more slanderous remarks. So let's kick things off with the first thing on the playlist.
DJ Slicer.
That was a collective calling themselves Scholastic Aptitude. It says here on the sleeve. I suspect that's a little bit ironic, given that infernal din they've put together there. And that track was entitled Take It, Bitch. Obviously, subtlety is not part of the repertoire. A lot of your texts and emails are happily venting your spleens at me, so you just get all that off your chests. I'm afraid I can't read you any of it, even on this graveyard spot. But I think you can pretty much guess what the gist of it is. Lots of colourful invective aimed at my good self. And as I say, this is very much a punishment for me, as well as Mr. Slicer.
Hey, DJ Slicer, what you got, man?
Well, I'm happy to say that's the very last show of the week for me here in DJ Slicer's usual slot. I have to say it's done my tinnitus no good at all. In fact, much of the playlist sounded like a nasty bout of tinnitus. Very much the opposite of easy listening. Bloody atrocious listening, if you ask me. But you'll be happy to know a connoisseur of the stuff will be back on air next week in the shape of DJ Slicer. Yes, you did hear that correctly. They have decided to reinstate him, despite that ferocious outburst I was subjected to. But obviously his popularity has won the day. I can see that getting up at this kind of unsocial hour does have a very strange effect on the metabolism. Maybe that helps explain the alleged body odour issue. Maybe it was one of his crew, I don't know. I suppose it's all very much by the by at this stage of the game. Just as a side note, if any of you ravers out there have enjoyed my time here, I am on the breakfast slot every morning, so you're more than welcome to join me. If you can rouse yourself from your post-partying slumbers. Yes, that was a shameless attempt to boost my audience figures, but some good might as well come out of this otherwise rather futile exercise, and I shall certainly have to readjust my body clock for next week. It's played absolute havoc with my bowel habits, being on this late slot, but I'm sure you've no interest in that. Anyway, I think that's enough padding.
DJ Slicer.